All right, hello there. I'm going to be sharing with you today my top five takeaways from Trust and Inspire, a book by Stephen M.R. Covey, actually the son of Stephen Covey, who wrote Seven Habits of Highly Effective People. If you've been around the business world for a while, you've probably heard of that book, one of the classics. Every quarter, our leadership team in our company, we read a book together, a leadership book, a marketing book, whatever the case is, that's going to help us improve as leaders, as a team. And this was our book this quarter, Trust and Inspire. So I want to share with you our top five takeaways. I'm going to open up about the book and the thought behind the book. The way the book introduces this concept is a very powerful example on the Death Valley in California. The Death Valley is the hottest place on earth ever recorded, 134 degrees. It was recorded in July 10th, 1913. 134 degrees is what the temperature reached on that date, the highest recorded ever. Nothing grows in the Death Valley. That's why it's called the Death Valley. It's so hot and so dry. The rainfall is so minimal. Average rainfall a year is 1 to 2 inches. And there was even a period of 40 months, over 3 years, where only half an inch fell for that period of time. So very, very dry. Though there was a brief period in the winter of 2004 where 6 inches of rain fell. 6 inches. So for this place called the Death Valley, that's like a just rainy season. That's monsoon type stuff where it's like abnormally uh, amount of rainfall came. And the visitors to the Death Valley in that spring were shocked to find as this dense carpet of growth, even wildflowers growing in the Death Valley. So this is actually was a TED talk that the author Covey is talking about. He said maybe the Death Valley should be called the Dormant Valley, not the Death Valley, because in the right conditions, with the right amount of rain investment, something does grow. And when we relate that to people, it's a very powerful example of as leaders, we can often feel like sometimes, man, we're investing so much, it's not taking. I've done all these things, and my people aren't growing. We get this sense of frustration with we're not getting out what we're putting in, and maybe we are not having the right conditions. Maybe we don't have the right approach, the right mindset, the right style, whatever the case is. And that's kind of the high level of this book, Trust and Inspire, is comparing that to a different style of leadership. So we'll get into the five takeaways now, introducing that topic. So one takeaway is that overarching trust and inspire versus command and control. And I love the way he spent a lot of time breaking down what is command and control, what is trust and inspire. And at the end of every chapter, he kind of broke down the different behaviors, styles, the way that a command and control and a trust and inspire approaches situations and how they think about it. And it's a paradigm shift. It's a mindset. We can't fake being a trust and inspire leadership. We actually have to believe and act in that way because it's impossible for us to consistently show up in a way that is contradictory to how we believe. That's a similar to a Zig Ziglar quote. It's almost the word for word, but not quite. So trust and inspire. Everybody has greatness inside of them. That's what a trust and inspire leader believes. A trust and inspire leader approaches things believing in people and potential. Command and control is in the world of position and power and yielding those things. Now, a command and control leader can absolutely get compliance. We can get results. We can make things happen, but it's more approaching people as I'm going to squeeze as much out of them as I can. Uh, and trust and inspire, again, is with people and potential. So the trust and inspire leader is how can I empower, how can I invest in teams so that it overflows with results? Not that I'm trying so hard to squeeze everything out, but this is a state of overflow of investment that we are making into our people. The word inspire in the book is from a root Latin word, which means is see if I can say this right, inspire, inspire. Um, Makes me sound very smart, doesn't it? Which means to breathe into. So a trust and inspire leader is actually breathes inspiration, actually breathes those things into people. Um, so, how can we be trust and inspire versus command and control? What does that look like? How do we show up? Um, and that's kind of the opening framework of this paradigm shift. And command and control is the old way of doing it. It's how the business world was brought up in. Now, so much has changed in our world, and that's kind of that opens up with how much the world has changed, why we need to be different, how our style of leadership has not changed with the times. So many of us are still operating in command and control. Sometimes it's even a enlightened command and control, but the heart of it is still around position and power. Number two is the two imperatives of our time. This is on page 23, where it talks about the two imperatives of our time, and those would be win in our workplace and win in our marketplace, and how we need to be able to do both of those to win in today's world. Um, we can't win in the marketplace at the level we need to if we're not winning in the workplace. And if we're winning in the workplace, we need to make sure we're getting results in the marketplace. So, what does that look like? So, winning in the marketplace talks about we need to collaborate and innovate at a successful enough level to collaborate and innovate where we're winning, where we're showing up and winning in the marketplace. Winning in the workplace is creating a high enough level of trust where we are attracting, retaining, engaging, and inspiring the best people that we possibly can. So we have to be able to do that. If we have a bad team, it's going to be very hard to achieve our dreams. John Maxwell says a nightmare looks like a big dream with a bad team. So we have to make sure that we are building that culture where we're attracting people that are going to help us in our vision and our mission, that live out our core values to make sure we're winning in the marketplace. Number three, and this was probably my biggest takeaway, is this third takeaway I'm getting ready to share with you. And this is on page 28 of the book. With people, when it comes to people, fast is slow and slow is fast. And a trusted, inspired leader gets this. And this was so powerful. And really, when we shared on the call, this was one of my takeaways. If I was going to pick one takeaway from the book, it would be this. And I just used it in a coaching session with the business leader recently, because they were having this struggle, that you have to realize that in order to go fast with people, you have to slow down. You have to put systems in place. You have to empower them. You have to make sure they get it. You have to build that trust. You have to build the relationship. You have to connect them to why we're doing this, to the purpose of the business. You have to build them up, and that connection takes time. So, but once you've done that, once you get that trust and inspiration built, you start moving really fast. Covey actually has a book called The Speed of Trust. And I haven't read that one. I've heard it's good, but basically, that you will move at the speed of the level of trust in your organization. So, with people, fast is slow and slow is fast. And it feels so wrong because everything feels so urgent. Everything feels so important that we feel like, no, just get out of my way. I'm going to make sure this gets done. That is a great way to build dependency in our company, where we become a crutch, not a leader. We become a hero, not somebody who empowers others. We have to make sure that we are taking the time to lead people. The In that same area of the book, it talks about manage things, lead people. We don't want to spend all of our time managing people. We want to lead them. We want to lead with trust and inspiration. We want to manage things well. Great leaders manage things and lead people. And as leaders, are we conditioning people, or are we developing them? Are we growing them? And there's a big distinction. Again, are we getting compliance, or are we getting commitment from people? Um, and a trust and inspire leader asks this question. Instead of saying, why aren't my people motivated? A far better question is, how can I inspire them better? It's a completely different way of thinking, a completely different way of approaching it. With people, fast is slow and slow is fast. All right, so number four, my fourth takeaway from the book, and there I had a lot of notes. These are my top five. So number four is actually in the trusting chapter. This is page 131 and 132. There are some stats that are pretty staggering for us to realize as leaders. Many times we look at ourselves as better than our team looks at us, and having awareness around that is huge. I wanted to share some stats real quick on engagement. This always blows me away with the engaged workforce. You may have heard some of this or not, but there are people in the workforce today, even in our companies, that are actively disengaged, and the estimates are anywhere from 15 to 29, 30% of the workforce is actively disengaged. I mean, not only are they not being productive, they're actively rowing in the opposite direction that we want them to, that the people that are engaged are. So the middle part of that is the not engaged, happened again. Um, and then the rest, that top percent, which estimates can vary, but again, we're talking about 29, 31% are actually engaged. So we have actively disengaged, not engaged, which is like anywhere from 40 to 55%, and then 29 to 30% are engaged. So less than a third of our workforce is actually engaged. And above engaged is inspired, which is what the book is driving us to. Are we actually inspiring our people? So here's some of the stats I wanted to share. Um, that is, when they surveyed people in the workforce, they asked with leaders how frequently their leaders extend trust. So they asked the leaders and their direct reports, the people they are leading, how how much does the leader actively extend trust? The leaders rated themselves 270% higher than their direct reports did. 3x almost. That was staggering. I knew it would be different. I didn't think it would be 270% lower. So our team thinks that we are not trusting them. How can we trust more? How can we do that more? A trust inspire leader, there's three stewardships as the book breaks down. The first one is model it, who you are. We have to trust how you lead. Then we have to inspire, which is connecting to why. So modeling, trusting, and inspiring is the three stewardships of a trust and inspire leader. And there's a chapter for each one of those. But that was the thing in the trust chapter that really stood out was that stat. And the next one is another survey where they researched people going to work. What's the most stressful part of your day? 75%, three quarters of the workforce said the most stressful part of their day was their boss. You know, people don't leave organizations, they leave a leader uh, many times. So 75%. I mean, we as leaders have so much influence on how much our team enjoys work. Like we need to be a trust and inspire leader. We need to get better at modeling, trusting, and inspiring. So the fifth takeaway, and this was a real high level one for me as I was reading it before I even got to the third stewardship of inspiring. I was already thinking and contemplating and asking myself, and I asked our leadership team when we were actually, going through the book takeaways, is how much are we inspiring our team? And I said, of the three stewardships, modeling, trusting, and inspiring, which one would you say is our biggest growth area? What's our lowest one? And they all agreed with me that in inspiring, because sometimes it's easy when you're leading a nonprofit or you're saving people in a hospital. Like it feels easier to inspire because it can be life or death, or it's for a good cause. When you're in a home services industry, really you have to be more intentional with tying the work that your team is doing to a why, to how it has purpose, to why their job matters, their daily functions matter, and tying their KPIs, their key performance indicators to that larger purpose. Like their work matters, they matter as a person, their work matters, and are we actually measuring that to show that we back it up with care, with data? So trusting, there was 3 points. Each one of the stewardships had 3 points, and to hone in why the stewardship is important, and the inspiring, um, the 3 points of that one see here on page 176 is connecting with people, connecting to purpose, and then it was a three-part: self, relationship, and team. How can we do those things better? So connecting to the purpose is the overall, that why. What is your why as a leader? What is the why of the business? How can we connect people to that, um, and not just motivate them, but inspire them? Um, very, very powerful thing to think through. And as we were diving into those things, connecting to purpose, connecting to people, we have to get better at these things. These are skills. These are our tactics, like charisma, inspiration. These are things that we can learn and get better at. Some people may be more natural at it, or they've just done things better at it. But connect with people, connect to purpose. And then the self, relationship, and team is, and creating an environment where we know our why and the team knows the why. The relationship is creating that caring, that you actually care about them as a person, and then the team is belonging, that they actually belong on this team and why they belong on this team. So that was the big part of inspiring, those 3 points of it. How can we inspire better? There was a quote in here. I'll see if I can track it down. It was a Cherokee birth blessing: is may you live long enough to know why you were born. May you live long enough to know why you were born. And when we can connect that why with people, that we are here doing work that matters, impacting lives, impacting other team members, helping us all win together, it is a very powerful thing. And everyone can inspire. We can all get there. It is a learned skill. We can do that. Inspire high performance. Simply trying to motivate people, simply trying to get compliance is not enough in today's world. We have to shift our outlook, shift our paradigm, shift our mindset to a new way of leadership. And how can we serve better? Trust and inspire leaders think that way. How can I serve better? How can I inspire better? So as we're getting ready to wind this down, those were my 5 takeaways. There were a bonus. So when it talks about what trust and inspire is not, because I don't know about you, but many times when I read books like this, or I talk about it with people where the concepts aren't, are maybe a little more foreign, aren't as typical, and how they're used to approaching leadership, because we've all had bad bosses. And if you've hired people, if you've worked with people, you've experienced that, where you bring somebody on your team and they've got some boss trauma, they've got some toxic work environments that they've came from. But I loved chapter 9, what trust and inspire is not. And sometimes to define something with more clarity, we have to talk about what it isn't. And trust and inspire is not weak. Trust and inspire is not weak. It takes strength to extend trust. It's not easy to trust people. In order to trust, you have to actually give that trust. Then they prove if they're worthy of that trust. But we have to extend that trust. It doesn't come through force of control. Um, Trust and inspire comes through vulnerability, comes through openness, authenticity, comes through that trust. And that's not easy with the first with those first steps, especially as leaders. Like we want to seem like we have it all together. Trust and inspire leadership is not a lack of control. True control comes from strong and engaged teammates and teams. That's where we're not trying to control every outcome. We're trying to make sure that our team is trusted and inspired, and we are modeling it, and then they are modeling it to their teams. That is where that really comes from. So trust and inspire is not weak, not a lack of control. It's not a lack of structure. Structure can look completely different for my organization, for your organization, for different industries. But structures are programs, people, programmers. What works best? What is helpful for your team? What's helpful for you? Is it aligned with the purpose? These are things that we're asking ourselves to build structure. So trust and inspire leaders aren't just like, oh well, I trust them to do the good job. That's more abdicating. That's more not putting the work in. That's just a cop out. Really, it's not true trust. True trust is setting up the expectations, making sure it's clarified, making sure it's clear, adding guardrails, adding boundaries, giving resources, following up consistently with conversations, and making sure that they understand you're on the same page, adding that support. And what are the consequences? Actually, just outlined. Um, the previous chapter, chapter 8, was about the stewardship agreement, and it outlines those 5 things, which is a really cool part. But trust and inspire leadership is not a lack of structure. It's not a lack of vision or direction. Trust and inspire leaders consistently cast vision, consistently talk about hope and inspiration, and instilling that in those that they serve, those that they lead. It's not a matter of understanding which decisions are best from top down, but from bottom up. So, again, it's extending that trust. What is the vision and direction? It's not a lack of high expectations or accountability. Low expectations inspire no one. Low expectations inspire no one's. And trust and inspire leaders are not afraid to talk straight, to speak the truth, to call out when there is an agreement that has been broken. So it's not micromanaging, it's simply saying, here's the expectations, and then holding ourselves and our team to those expectations, to give account, to hold accountable. And then the fifth one here, the trust and inspire leadership is not um, yeah, not a lack of high expectations and accountability. So, trust and inspire leaders have high expectations for themselves and for their team. So, I thought that was a great way to end it. What it is not. Trust and inspire, a great book. How truly great leaders unleash greatness in others. Some great concepts in here. So, give it a read. It'll help you get better, help you have more of a mindset around leadership and what the new kind of leadership looks like to succeed in today's ever changing world.